This is the true story of the Skinwalkers. Skinwalkers are warlocks with the ability to shapeshift and become animals or people. They can not only take your appearance but also clone your voice perfectly. The biggest Skinwalker sightings have been in Ohio and Arizona, but they are found all over the world. The preferred form of Skinwalkers is that of your pet. They take the form of your pet and enter your home and try to act like your pet to gain your trust, and then they can take your life. Watch how in this video the boy realizes that his dog is a Skinwalker.
Let me see. I'll know if she's my dog. Merlin, sit. Turn around. Turn around. Lay down. You're not my dog. My dog don't know how to do no fucking trick. The fuck? Call 911. Hey! Somebody!
She was exploring an abandoned building when she hears this. User Lizzie made a horrifying discovery while using the app Randonautica with her friend that led to an abandoned apartment complex. From within the apartment, several voices can be heard, as if a satanic ritual is being held inside.
Dude, I feel like they're doing a ritual. Dude, this is real. This is real. This is not a game. This is when we get murdered.
Lizzie explains on her way there, she didn't see a single soul. So could this be a secret hideout for a cult? Let me know your thoughts.
I just want to be scared. It's spooky season, so let's watch some spooky, scary shit. You loved the list from yesterday, so I'm back. I'm Chuck. I'd love to be your movie guy. Hit that like button, give me a follow, and this is 5 more horror movies that are actually fucking scary. Some of them are old, some of them are new, some of them are classic, but they're fucking scary. I know it's older, but this is a permanent staple for me, and I think The Changeling is one of the scariest movies ever made. It's about this music professor that suffers a tragic loss and rents this mansion in Seattle so he can get back his creativity. Listen, I'll never look at a staircase the same ever again. In the Mouth of Madness is an absolute fucking banger that scares me every time I view it. It's about a horror author who goes missing and his publicist hires somebody to go find him, realizing as they go along the way that the things that he writes about are more than just entertainment for his fans. This is an absolute fucking banger. I don't care what anybody says, the Amityville Horror 05 Ryan Reynolds remake is light years better than the original movie, and this movie fucking terrifies me. It's brutal, it's creepy, it gets under your skin, it's so well done and so slept on. I don't give a shit what nobody says. These next 2 are 2 of the scariest movies ever made, and we're gonna start off with Wreck, which is arguably one of the greatest found footage movies ever made. It's about a TV reporter and her cameraman that go into this apartment building with emergency workers. If you haven't seen this, just put it on and prepare to be fucking terrified. For me, Gonjiam Haunted Asylum is not only the scariest and best found footage movie ever, it's one of the scariest fucking movies ever made. It's about these people that make web series on the internet that go do a live stream in this asylum. While this is a slow burn to begin with, stick with it because it becomes horrifying. This one gets to me every Halloween. I watch it, I love it, and it is fucking scary. So let me know in the comments what you think of this list. I'm Chuck. I'd love to be your movie guy. Hit the like button. Give me a follow.
What if you get home and you see this? This woman was getting back home when she sees this strange man going inside her garage. She tries to get away, but her car wouldn't start, so she had no other option than to step out and check what was happening. As she's getting close to the garage, she realized that the man is no longer there. She heads back to the car to find something terrifying. The man is actually in the car.
This is the true story of Coraline. Neil Gaiman is the creator of the Coraline story, but he was inspired by a sad, real-life story. Back in the 1970s, Neil lived in his small hometown, Hampshire in the UK. In this place lived a family with his grandmother and his little daughter. Everything was normal until one day a tragic event happened. The family's house burned down completely. The parents of the young girl lost their lives. But the grandmother decided to enter the house to save her granddaughter. After this fire, there began to be a lot of mystery in the city. Since the old woman did not let her granddaughter out of the house, rumors circulated saying that the young woman had burns on her face, and for this reason she did not go outside. Moved by this mystery, young Neil decided to enter the house of the old woman to see the young girl. One day, the old woman left her house. Neil saw this as an opportunity to enter the house with his friends to reveal the identity of the girl. But what they saw inside left them speechless. Inside the house, they found a small cradle, where the lifeless body of the girl was found. The strangest thing of all was that the girl had buttons in her eyes. Neil left the house with his friends and told what he saw to the whole town, and the old woman was sent to a psychiatric hospital.
Guys, have you heard about the faceless bride of Altenburg? Years ago, a beautiful young woman was ready to marry the love of her life. But on her wedding day, her joy turned into a nightmare. Before she could say her vows, she was brutally murdered, her life stolen in a moment of pure terror. The killer was never found, and her soul has never rested. Now, on misty nights, her ghost is said to roam near the old church where she was to be wed. Dressed in a tattered white wedding gown, her figure drifts through the fog, but her beauty has been replaced by something far more horrifying. Where her face should be, there is nothing. Just smooth, pale skin, blank and expressionless. Some say she's still searching for the person who killed her, but those who cross her path become part of her endless hunt. Have you ever experienced something similar? Share your story in the comments.
This horror film is fucked. It's depraved, it's disturbing, it's full of trigger warnings. But despite all that, it ends up being a pretty emotional film about human connection and toxic relationships. Oh, you're still here? Let's scratch off day 6. You sick fucks. This is Who's Watching Oliver. Where to watch? You can stream this for free on Tubi. Meet Oliver. Now, if you met this man on the street, you would probably think this guy's nice enough, right? You'd be wrong. You see, Oliver here has a pretty consistent routine of Zoom calls with his mother, this crazy bitch. You see, these Zoom calls aren't your typical mother and son just having a conversation catching up kind of call. In fact, these calls only serve as a way for his mother to tell Oliver what depraved, sadistic acts to perform on these random women that he decides to bring home. And it's not the fact that Oliver even wants to do these things, he's just under the control of his mother. And Oliver sees no way out of this toxic relationship. That is until he meets the lovely Sophia. So yes, Who's Watching Oliver is pretty hard to sit through. It's disturbing, it's depraved. But at the end of the day, it does have a pretty beautiful underlying story. Good luck with that one. Check back tomorrow for day 7.
Guys, have you heard about the demon of Oiwa Mountain? Long ago, people spoke of a terrifying demon that haunted the dark, misty forests of Oiwa Mountain. The demon was said to have glowing red eyes and sharp claws, standing taller than any human. It hid deep within the shadows, waiting for someone to stray too far into the woods. One night, a group of travelers decided to cross the mountain, even though locals had warned them never to go there after dark. As they walked, the air became cold, and an eerie silence fell over the forest. Suddenly, the ground shook, and a deep growl echoed through the trees. The travelers froze, their hearts pounding. From the darkness, the demon appeared. It lunged at them, its claws ripping through the air. The travelers screamed, trying to run, but the demon was too fast. One by one, they were dragged into the forest, their cries echoing in the night. To this day, no one dares to go near Oiwa Mountain after dark. Some say they can still hear the demon's growl in the distance.
The graphic and disturbing nature of this film is something that gets completely under my skin. Popular to contrary belief, I think this might be one of the most disturbing found footage films ever made. If you have a weak stomach or are squeamish, just please scroll away now. I'm Chuck, I'd love to be your movie guy. Hit that like button, give me a follow, and this is 31 brutal days of Halloween where every night I bring you a brutal and disturbing film that's actually good for the Halloween season. So buckle up because this one's fucked up. Ladies and gentlemen, this is real, and this is a film that you will not forget. This is the story of Todd Smith, an aspiring YouTuber, filmmaker, and found footage lover. A man that has set out to make his own fucked up found footage movie. Little does he know that he caught the eye of another filmmaker that wants him to star in his movie. That filmmaker is not gonna let Todd Smith know. The filmmaker is a man named Slasher Victim 666, and he has set out to make the most brutal found footage film ever made. He sends Todd Smith a camera as a gift anonymously. Real is told from two perspectives, from the movie that Todd Smith is making and from the film that Slasher Victim 666 is making. It is shown to you through their cameras, through YouTube clips, and through the footage that they have recorded. Todd Smith has no idea he's going to be famous. Listen, this is ingenious, inventive, and the last 25 minutes of this film are absolutely incredibly hyper-realistic and fucked up. It's one of my favorite torture scenes I've ever seen in my entire life. I promise you that it will turn your stomach. You can watch Real for free at realstore.net. I'll tag it down in the links below. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. I'm Chuck. I'd love to be your movie guy. Hit the like button. Give me a follow.
My childhood home had a lot of creepy stuff happening in it all of the time. Honestly, the entire land that it was on just had a really bad vibe to it. The whole farm that I grew up on just had a lot of bad stuff happen. And if you've been here for a while, you know all about it. But I just wanted to tell you a few things that happened in my childhood home. And this is not all of it by any means, but I just thought I would put a few stories in a video. I thought just like a little spooky haunted house story would be fun. It's rainy outside. It's like Halloween time. Let's get into it. So my childhood home is a pretty open floor concept. Like you walk in the front door, you're immediately in the living room. You walk back, you're in the dining room. Go left, you're in the kitchen. And the entire like back walls have a bunch of windows. And their backyard is the woods. And they just don't have curtains on their windows. So one day I had a friend over and we were sitting in the living room watching TV. And like I said, open floor concept. You kind of had to walk to the right to get to the dining room and then to the kitchen. And when you're in the living room, there's like a bar counter type area that separates the living room from the kitchen. So for some reason, I don't remember if it was me or my friend that looked over, but we look up to this bar area and see a plastic glass just sliding. No one's near it. Nothing's happening. The glass is empty. There's no condensation making it slide, but we all watch this plastic cup slide from one end of the counter to the other. Hello, Pete. She wanted to come say hello. After it got to the other side and stopped sliding, we all jumped up at the same time to like see if the counter was wet, because that is the only explanation, because there's no slant. And it was bone dry. Bone dry. That did happen one time after that, but it hadn't happened before that experience, and other than that one time, it hasn't happened since. So I don't know why, and I don't know if anyone else did this when they had friends over, but did you guys camp with your friends, like camp out in the living room? Because anytime I had a friend over, I would get so excited because that meant my mom was gonna blow up the air mattress and we were gonna stay in the living room with the big TV and eat junk food, and it was so much fun. Now, the way our living room was set up in my childhood home, there was like a TV on the wall, right? But to the left, there was this giant bay window that never had freaking curtains on it. I don't know why my parents never had curtains. But the big bay window oversaw the porch and all that. So this happened quite a few times. We would be laying on the air mattress and we would just hear something, sort of like human footsteps, stomping up the porch steps and like running to the front door. But we would be looking right at this window and nothing was on that porch. But it would be like shaking the house, and it would hit the front door, and like we would open the door and nothing would be there. No explanation for that at all. Electronics consistently messed up in this house, and I remember one time I was watching something on my TV, my bedroom door was open, and my volume kept going up and down and the TV kept turning off. I would turn it back on and fix it, but it just kept shutting off. And it was like the third or fourth time of me turning on this TV, and I heard something like walking down my hallway to my room. So I waited for someone to come in and no one ever did, and the footsteps stopped like right before my door. So I got up and walked out of the hallway, no one was there, and I went down to the living room where my parents were, and I was like, what gives? And they were like, we didn't do that. We've just been here. Like I said, that was just a few stories, and if you guys want more of that house, I've got you, but I just thought it would be fun to tell you guys a few little spooky stories.
This is why you should always lock your doors. A man in Venezuela was woken up in the dead of night to a strange haunting whistle. At first, he thought it was his mind playing tricks, but then he heard it again. Dragging footsteps echo through the silence, creeping towards his room. But as whoever's outside arrives at the door, this happens. Something tries to get inside. The man believes he was visited by El Silbón, a wandering spirit of death from Venezuelan folklore, known to enter homes with open doors. The further it sounds, the closer he is.
Ranking all the VHS movies from worst to best. With the release of VHS Beyond, my ranking has definitely changed. And I didn't do an updated ranking list since VHS 85 came out last year, so let's do it. But coming in at dead last is still VHS Viral. This shit was horrible. Point blank period. In fact, VHS 85 and VHS Beyond made me hate this one even more. First of all, the VHS movies usually have like 5-6 different segments. This shit only had 3, and one of them wasn't even found footage. So I was like, what are we doing here? Yeah, hard pass on this one. Right after that one, I got VHS 99. The only thing about this one that I really liked was the fact that they were literally in hell. I think that was pretty cool. Other than that though, I didn't like VHS 99. I just couldn't. Bro, I fell asleep on this shit twice, and I was sober both times. That just makes it even worse. I had really high hopes for this one too when it was coming out, and I just was disappointed, bro. Right after that though, I got VHS 85. Now look, technically this is kind of low on the list, but don't get me wrong, I actually like VHS 85. It's just the other ones I like a little bit better. VHS 85, solid flick. I give it a respectful position right here. Next, I got VHS 94. I'm not gonna lie to you, when I first saw VHS 94, I really didn't like it, but I wasn't locked in enough, so when I rewatched it, I was locked in. I was like, yeah, this one is actually kind of gas. I ain't gonna lie to you. Especially that one segment of them in that tunnel sewer thing with that mutated rat man. Definitely a solid movie. VHS 94, you get a pass from your boy. Next, I got VHS Beyond, the newcomer to the bunch. VHS Beyond was wild, bruh. I am not gonna lie to you. I've seen some of my mutuals saying that it's the best in the franchise. I respectfully disagree. I respect y'all's opinion, but it's not the best in the franchise, but it's definitely top 3. The plane crash segment, goated. That one segment with that crazy ass dog lady, well, forget all them. The very first segment of them running through that house, then that bird alien monster thing at the very end, bro, that shit was insane. They did that thing with VHS Beyond. I can't wait for the next one. But at the number 2 spot, I got the original VHS. Still one of the greatest found footage movies of all time. First time I saw this movie, it scared the shit out of me. I ain't gonna front. The ideas were all fresh, so they really came out the gate swinging. VHS is definitely a goated flick. But at the number 1 spot in the entire VHS franchise for your boy, I gotta go with VHS 2 still. This shit was insane. If I'm not mistaken, VHS 2 was the one that had the segment with that cult at the end. Yeah, that was top tier. And once again, just like with VHS, you can tell the ideas were still fresh. Just can't believe they fumbled right after this one. But yeah, VHS 2 still remains king of this franchise. All right, y'all, that's my ranking of all the VHS movies. And if you want another franchise ranking, just holler at me. And like I always say, man, y'all stay spooky.
Imagine going to a haunted house thinking it's just an attraction, but once you're inside, you're locked in with a bunch of people who are trying to murder you. So this is Harper, and her and her friends first go to a Halloween party, and during this Halloween party, Harper is stalked by a man wearing a devil mask. They soon leave the Halloween party and they head to this backroads, sketchy, haunted house, and once they're there, they're met with a man in a mask who makes them sign a waiver and then hand over their phones and put them in a lockbox. They sign it, they hand their phones over, then they go into the haunted house, and they first come across some really cheesy scenes like you'd expect in a haunted house. Then they're met with a witch, and it's this scene where there's a girl laying on the ground, and the witch takes a fire poker and burns her face. Pretty much the group collective is that this girl is a really good actor, you know, she's really good, and so they head on their merry little way, and they get separated in a maze, and it pretty much leads back to this scene with the witch, only this time it's their friend Mallory laying on the ground, being stabbed in the head with a fire poker. By now, the group realizes they're in serious danger, and they send one of the guys back to the front of the haunted house with the lockbox key to try and get a phone and get some help, and he comes across a man in a ghost mask who's pretending, and he's putting on the act that he's just a concerned employee trying to help. So following the ghost man, he makes it outside, and once outside, the ghost man takes off his mask, and his face is messed up. It resembles the mask he was wearing. This is actually something all the actors have in common, and honestly, their real faces are probably creepier than the mask they're wearing. This one's called Haunt though, and it's pretty scary.
Halloween is right around the corner, so here are some horror movies that take place on actual Halloween night. First up is Trick or Treat. You can stream this one on Max. Absolute favorite Halloween movie that takes place on Halloween night. It is an anthology horror movie, so all these different stories are going on and they are all interwoven to all make sense at the end. Another favorite is Haunt. You can stream this on Prime Video or Tubi. It's about a group of friends and they pass by this haunt that's supposed to be this extreme experience, and so they decide to go in there because they want to get really freaked out, but then they end up absolutely regretting that. Another Halloween haunt type of attraction one is Hellfest. This one you can stream on Peacock. It's about a group of friends who are at this Halloween haunt attraction, and then all these weird things are going on. They're like, oh, this is really realistic, but then they're realizing, oh no, I think the scare actors are actually killing people. Next up is The House is October Built. This is another Halloween haunt attraction one. You can stream this one for free on Hoopla or Shudder, but it's a found footage documentary style one. These group of friends are going on this road trip to find the scariest haunted house, but then along the way they're starting to realize they're being targeted by these really weird scare actors. And lastly is The Barn. You can stream this on Screambox or Tubi. It's about these friends who are on their way to a concert, but then they take a little detour and they find this abandoned barn, so they decide to go in, but little do they know this curse is attached to it and it awakens these freaky monsters, and now they gotta survive. Let me know if you guys want more movies like this, because there are a couple more Halloween movies that take place on Halloween night.
What would you do if you were viewing a house for sale and you see this in the crawl space? A terrifying video was uploaded by the Parabros. They were looking at a house for sale when something in the cellar pays them a visit.
Is that a cat?
They see a pair of glowing eyes looking at them under the window.
Oh yeah, I think I see her. Come here, little kitty. Come here, little kitty, kitty, kitty. Stop. Come here, little kitty. Come here, little kitty, kitty, kitty.
At first they thought it was just a stray cat trying to find shelter for the night, but as they were trying to get it to come outside, whatever this figure was stood up. It's safe to say this wasn't a cat, and people believe that it was a skinwalker.
Come here, little kitty. Come here, little kitty, kitty, kitty.
The men immediately left the house and haven't provided any answers as to what was inside.
This was the real-life Shrek, and his story will make you cry. In the 1950s, there was a man known as Morris Tillett, a reclusive farmer who lived deep in the marshlands of Louisiana. Locals would whisper about his terrifying appearance, with a face deformed by a condition called acromegaly. His grotesque looks earned him the cruel nickname Shrek. People avoided his land, believing he was a monster. But Maurice wasn't the monster they made him out to be. He was hiding a secret. One night, a group of curious teens ventured into his swamp, hoping to catch a glimpse of the ogre. They never returned home. Panic swept the town, and a mob stormed his land with torches, determined to end the reign of the swamp beast. But when they broke into his shack, they didn't find the creature they expected. Instead, they discovered a small child locked in a room, one of the missing teens. The real monster wasn't Maurice. It was the local sheriff, named Don Key, who had been using Morris's terrifying reputation to cover up his own dark crimes. The twist? Maurice had been saving kids one by one and hiding them from the real predator. And just like that, the monster was gone. No one saw Maurice again. He left the town, leaving the people to wonder if the true Shrek was still out there, protecting the innocent.
movies that released this week and where to watch them.
If you were to lock me in a room with any of the characters from Terrifier 3, I'm 100% walking out without a scratch. Like, fuck 100%, man, 110%. Art the Clown, easy. Look, I'm gonna hit bro with the craziest GTS you've ever fucking seen, bro. Chain wrapped around the knee and all. And then I'm gonna pick his ass up and hit him with a Batista bomb. And while he's on the floor, I'm gonna whip out the RPG, load that bitch up, and... Victoria, super fucking easy. Look, I'm gonna run up on her and hit her with a fucking curb stomp. And then I'm gonna pick her ass up and hit her with a famouser. And while she tries to get up, I'm gonna whip out the RPG, load that bitch up, and... whatever the fuck this thing is, bro, super fucking easy. I'm gonna hit this little piece of shit right here with a Big Show KO punch. And then I'm gonna let him get up, and then I'm gonna run up on him and hit him with a bro kick. And then while he tries to get up after that, I'm gonna whip out the RPG, load that bitch up, and... Chris Jericho, a little bit harder, but still super fucking easy because I'm Evan Solo. I'm gonna run up on bro and hit him with a fucking code breaker, and then while he's on the floor, I'm gonna grab his legs and put him in the walls. And then while I got him in the walls, I'm gonna whip out the RPG, load that bitch up, and...
I know you're looking for horror movies, so stop fucking scrolling because I got you. Not only am I here all year long, but I'm really ramping it up for spooky season. I'm Chuck. I'd love to be your movie guy. Hit that like button, give me a follow, and this is 5 underrated horror movies that people either forgot about or don't talk about on TikTok. Forget Me Not is about this group of high school kids after graduation that play this game. It's kind of like hide and seek, and they start disappearing one by one. And it'll have you asking the question, do you remember me? This fucker rips. The only person I've seen talk about Tamara is the legend, the GOAT, the Queen, Horror Chronicles, and this movie absolutely rips. It's about an unattractive girl that dies, and she comes back as this sexy seductress to exact revenge, and listen, she is the baddest bitch. Madhouse is about this young psychiatric intern that learns about these supernatural things going on at the facility that he works at. This is unnerving, it's creepy, it's criminally underrated, and it fits the bill for spooky movie night. Truth or Dare, 2012, not 2018. Listen, this rips. It's about these British kids, a bunch of dudes and a bunch of girls. They're promised a night of partying when they go to this cabin and they are faced dealing with this vicious killer. This movie rips and it's been forgotten about. I don't know why people don't talk about Kill Theory more, because this movie's an absolute fucking banger about these college kids after graduation that go to this secluded vacation home and they are forced to kill each other one by one by this brutal sadistic killer. Listen, this one absolutely fucking rips. Let me know in the comments if you've seen or even remember any of these, and I hope you enjoy them for your spooky season horror movie night. I'm Chuck. I'd love to be your movie guy. Hit that like button. Give me a follow.
6 months after my sister's death, I heard her voice again. But what she told me that night was something I wish I had never heard. My name is Rose, and I used to have a really close relationship with my sister, Teshiamo. We did everything together. But about a year ago, she passed away in a car accident. It was hard to get through, but eventually I started to move on. At least, I thought I did. One night, I was home alone. It was a Friday night, and I was just watching TV. Nothing out of the ordinary. My phone rang, and I didn't recognize the number, but I answered it anyway. When I picked up, there was static on the line, and then a voice. It was Teshiamo's voice. It said my name, Rose. I froze. My heart started racing, and I couldn't speak. I thought I was losing my mind. I heard her voice again, but it sounded strange, like she was far away. She said, "Rose, you need to listen to me. You're not safe." I hung up. I didn't know what to do. I sat there, staring at my phone, trying to convince myself that it was a prank. But the number called again and again. I finally blocked it. I told myself it was just some sick joke. Maybe someone knew about Tashiamo and thought it would be funny to mess with me. But the weird thing is, after that night, strange things started happening. I would hear footsteps in the house, but no one was there. Sometimes, I'd wake up in the middle of the night and feel like someone was watching me. And every now and then, I'd hear Tashiamo's voice again. Sometimes it would come from my phone. Other times, it felt like it was right behind me. One night, I got a call from the blocked number again. It went straight to voicemail, and when I listened to it, all I heard was heavy breathing. Then, Tashiamo's voice whispered, "Don't go into the basement." I was too scared to even go near the basement after that. But that night, I heard noises coming from down there. I couldn't ignore it anymore. I grabbed a flashlight and slowly walked down the stairs. When I got to the bottom, I felt this cold, eerie presence. It was like someone was there with me. That's when I saw it. In the corner of the basement, something was crouched in the dark. It was too shadowy to see clearly, but I knew I wasn't alone. I ran back upstairs and locked the door. I haven't been in the basement since. I still don't know who or what was calling me, but I can't shake the feeling that whatever it wasn't my sister, and it's still out there, waiting. Guys, comment your names. I will use your names for upcoming stories.